Hey everyone. How do we stay grounded, centered, and focused on what truly matters, in a world full of uncertainty and noise today? Welcome to Design Your Life, the podcast where we talk with everyday people about living with intention and really creating a life that, true to you. And let's be honest, right now it feels like everywhere we look right now, there's, uncertainty, whether it be global pressure, inflation, economics, social media negativity, again, wherever you look, it's just constant noise out there, right? So, how do we focus on really what matters most to us? And this podcast isn't about ignoring that reality, it's really about how we respond to it. So, today, I'm actually here on location. Very happy to be here at Oh My Soul and Journey to really have this discussion with three beautiful women. I have with me Barb, Tabitha, and Cara. So ladies, welcome to the episode. Very happy to have you on here. Cara, it's take two for us because I had a little technical botch in our last podcast. So finally, I get to have you on as well. So ladies, just, in the world right now, what's really weighing on you the most?
Oh. We go. For me, I think the heaviness is just the uncertainty that's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Prices are everywhere. I kind of worry about how my kids and my grandchild are going to go forward. But I try not to focus there if I can. But I think that's just, the prices of everything is just up, up, up. So I think there's a lot of struggle right now for everybody.
Okay.
Anybody? I agree with that for sure. But it also makes you look at other ways of dealing with that.
Absolutely.
Right. So like getting them back out gardening, like trying to do those things again so that you can, but that is a big one. Food is an issue.
Food is an issue. Yeah.
In many ways, but for good, healthy food too. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And you can go down so many rabbit holes about it. And then you got to pull back because there's too much noise. Like you said, it's too much noise. There's too much noise. So you can only change what you can change.
Now,
so I can garden.
I recall being younger and we had the desert storm back then. So, Cara, do you feel it's recently gotten worse than say back in those days?
I think social media has kind of added to that component of it. So I wouldn't say it's not worse because I'm sure it was just as bad back then. We just weren't aware of everything that was happening as quickly as we can be now, and it contributes to the social media contributes to those rabbit holes that we go down because of what's real and what isn't.
Yeah, true.
And I think too added with that is we all have our own perspectives, which is fair, and we need to be, and that's the way we should be. We're not always open to other perspectives, hearing things out. So I think that's another thing that weighs on us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, do any of you ladies ever feel overwhelmed by it?
For me personally, no. Which sounds weird, but I can't watch the news. I can't listen to that. I have to step back and away from it, or I could get overwhelmed super easy, but I don't want to live there. I've worked too hard the last 15 years to create this peace and serenity in my life and to push out the negativity and to live a life that I want to live that makes me happy. And I just can't. I just have to push it away and be like, I don't want to be oblivious to it so that it's not happening. You hear it everywhere. You see it everywhere. But I just turn the news off or walk out of the room if the news is on. If it's on my social media, I scroll past it. I just don't engage. For me, I try to stay out of it.
Barb, what about yourself?
No, well, I try, but sometimes, I'll go down the odd rabbit hole. But I find we weren't meant to know everything that was going on in the world, right? Like we only at one time, it was your community. So that's my thing, is to come back here to the community. And then, okay, let's just get back to where we're supposed to.
Right.
So it's important to have.
We do like a good conspiracy theory every now and then. Have a little fun with that.
I kind of like how you put that, though. We weren't meant to know everything. I don't think we ever sit back and reflect on that
we
enough.
We weren't supposed to know everything.
Humanity wasn't. Obviously, somebody created technology, and that's definitely accelerated the spread of, what do they call it, news or information or stuff like that. That's a good point. I've never really thought, are we meant to even know this?
I don't think we
right?
are.
It's
No.
We
human.
were never meant. We were
Yeah.
not programmed to know. Like, one continent didn't know what another.
Right, right,
Then
right.
we got the 6 o'clock news, which was only a part of your day. Now
Yeah.
it's 24 hours a day. If you
Constantly,
let it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. If you let it. Yeah.
Cara, why do you think this kind of uncertainty, is really so hard for people?
It's fear. I mean, there's fear combined with the worry, like Tabitha said, just thinking about our own families and the impact that that has, and then speaking to Barb, our community, and that's what we have here at Almost Home Journey, but is our greater community too,
Yeah.
and we have our lives outside of here, so trying to bring what we offer and what we support for other people in our community here out into our greater community and spread that as well. So I think
Right.
it's being able to balance ourselves and keep grounded, as you mentioned. That's the idea here,
Yeah.
and carrying our true authentic selves in everything that we do to be able to support others that way. And that's when it comes out a little more so, I think, in here when we're a little closer knit and are sort of
Right.
chatting. But when we're out in the community, those different pockets of the different types of fear, the anxiety that people are feeling, and the anxiousness, and then being open enough to share that. But then those people that aren't open enough to share that,
Right.
and seeing how that's displayed in the community too. Because then you have the folks that are going up to try to help and support. You have other people that fingers. It's trying to find that balance and keeping yourself grounded in it and true to who we are and what we want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How does control factor in? In terms of just with so much stuff going on, and just not having control over it. Do you think that weighs in?
Yes. That you only can handle or give out what you have control of. If you don't have control of the situation, you can't do anything about it.
Right.
Right. So if you get so invested in all the things that you don't have any control over, like gas prices or food prices or all the crazy things that are going on in the world. Yeah. And how much of it do we even know is true?
Right.
Right. If you just fall down that rabbit hole, you're not going to stay grounded. You're not going to stay true to yourself. You're not going to stay any of those things. You're just going to spiral. Right. So if you don't have control of it, let it go.
Now we've touched on it already in terms of choosing not to look at it. So how much does information overload play into this? Barb, you touched on it kind of.
Yeah,
We're knowing way too much than
Yeah.
we're meant to know, right?
And it's one thing, like we'll say the uncertainty of the world, but it's even worse than that. It's unfiltered uncertainty. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so overwhelming. If you
If you let it.
Yeah. If you let it. Yeah.
And they have good friends that, like when we're here,
Right.
they're like,
and I can only control this space around me. I can't control what's going on anywhere else. Right. So you focus on that. And what I put out, you're hoping will help. And that's
Right.
all I can do. Right. Lovingly.
Yeah.
Try to be kind, try to be, all those things. And then we can change a little parts around.
oh, and all of us together, when we share our little
It's a ripple.
parts, ripple it out. Right. So
Right.
then we can make big changes in our, in our world and then in our community here and then with our families and with our city. And, it just keeps spreading out. Right. But we just get to, I think it's talking about it. Like I have no fear of putting out there now who I am. Right. But when I first started this, when I first started this journey, I'd be like, I can't tell people that I collect gemstones or I play with essential oils or I meditate or they're going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And I had friends that were like, why are
It's
you
crazy out on the porch now.
right? Right. Yes.
So
But
is it easier for people to attach to the information? There's a saying, something loves company. Misery
loves
company.
company.
So it's just easier for people to feel like they're fitting in by acknowledging, reading, and getting involved, and say commenting on negative posts or watching everything than it is, to your point, put themselves out there for who they truly are.
I think it's easier to be behind the screen to do things in that
Right.
sense. but that goes both ways. It might be easier for them to share who they are, but also point fingers as well. We do got the balance between the two. And in my opinion, when we're on social media, if you're not comfortable putting yourself into your own community, then in my experience, I guess it's more that you're not always comfortable putting your true self out on Facebook either, because it's the filtering of the things and what do people want to hear. Like you might be in the intention is there, but because you can get caught up in all those other pieces, it takes a different shape sometimes.
Oh, yes, right. When you look at the news chasers or some of those ones are on social media, you're like, oh my God, so and so did this, and or and there's then people yak and go on, but even people who are like honestly asking for help, that you get a mom on there that's like, I have a child that this da 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 da. I want help. I need help, which is what we're supposed to as a community be. And instead they're like, oh, you're a terrible mother. And then you go,
Oh, it's an
right.
attack.
And then you get down the rabbit hole of like reading everybody's post. You're like, somewhere in here, there's got to be something nice that somebody's going to say. And it's not. And it's like, I feel like sometimes we need to go back to if you have nothing nice to say nothing at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
we've lost that.
Yeah. So how do you then in the middle of all that, in the middle of all the noise, the uncertainty, just negative, and I call it negativity. I'm blanketing all that kind of through social media. But how do you stay personally grounded with all that noise around you then?
For me, it's my everyday practices, right? My everyday rituals. It's, I get up in the morning and before I even get up, I'm like, I just take those few minutes just to breathe and listen to the birds right now. It's like spring and all the birds are outside my bedroom window, and just to take those few minutes to be grateful that, I'm awake this morning and taking a breath and I'm healthy and happy, and my family is healthy and happy. And so, practicing gratitude and then just getting up and trying to, I don't know, just be positive. I can't do the negative thing and not that I'm never negative, because, we're human, but I try to flip that if I start to, get into a rabbit hole, or I start to feel negative about something or feel sorry for myself. I'm like, okay, let's just honor what that is. And then
that comes to the community. We come and vent that.
we do. Yes.
We
Right.
can dump all of that garbage we can dump, and people help you sift through it.
Right.
Keep what's good and get rid of what's bad.
Right.
And move on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it's about the awareness too. So it's not only the awareness and making sure that we do our practices day by day, but it's around our own boundaries when we're in a situation and we notice, oh, wait, I'm starting to go in this direction, or I'm not feeling as grounded. Take that moment of pause. And sometimes people just don't have that awareness. They just feel they get caught up in whatever's happening. And we do too, but it's recognizing that and then, okay, my feet down, take a breath, whatever it needs to be.
But I also feel like our community is enough that when we're like that, I can be like, Barb, you are already off today. You need to get outside, put your feet in the ground.
Absolutely.
Or Cara, go do some breath work. Or right. And we're enough.
So you have rules in place. I was going to come back to that, because when you said dump, it's one thing to dump, as long as you're with like-minded people that have some kind of structure in place. That okay, now the dumping's done. This is where we go next, and not just become a big dump fest of
No,
manure.
Right. Well, but some days it is that. Some days you just have to dump a big pile before we, clear it away. But it's nice to have people who are like-minded, like-hearted,
and safe.
and
I was just
safe.
gonna say that.
And
Safe
safe.
space where you can be vulnerable and know that you can say anything and there's non-judgment in that moment, and working through that, and it's not going to leave the space. It's not going to come
Right.
later.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So there's got to be a level of trust.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that what's said in this space or in the circle or stays there, right? Where it's very much that. But yeah, it's a safe place just to be able to breathe.
And
Now-
I think I'm sorry.
No,
I'm just thinking that when we're talking about the community and coming in that safe space and building that trust component, when we have our gathering space, people come in and sometimes just sit and listen and drink their cup of tea. They may not interact, but that's part of them building trust and getting to learn who everybody is and becoming comfortable with us before they do that. So I think that's one of the messages that we try to share when folks come in that are new, or when we're talking about the space, that just come in and sit, have a cup of tea. There's no expectations.
Right,
You
right.
just come sit in the whispering room or in our
Secret
garden. It's a garden.
It's a garden.
Garden, and you don't.
That's a beautiful room. We try to do the podcast in
do.
that room.
It's a
by the
little
way.
tiny,
It's
a little bit tiny.
smaller than it would work.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you mentioned getting up, just have a little bit of gratitude. Obviously, the thing I did not hear in there was you don't go for your phone first. But Barb, Cara, what about yourselves? Is there something that you practice daily as well, or something that you also keep going back to?
When I'm overwhelmed too, yeah, I have to remember that I can't fix the world. So then go inside. So like you said, you go back inside. You literally hug a tree. Like me, that's my thing, right?
Yeah,
My
yeah.
path. You saw my
I
tea
saw your
house.
tree.
Yeah. So it's going back there, and that's remembering the old. It's the old ways, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
get barefoot.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It really
Right.
is. Yep.
Right, right. I've done the barefoot walk through the nature park
Yeah.
once, and it was
It's interesting.
it is
right?
very interesting.
Mhm.
It's you don't realize, and to your point you mentioned earlier about being true to yourself and not worrying about judgment and stuff like that. And when I first did it, it was hard because I was like, well, people are gonna watch me,
Yep.
people are gonna look at me.
Right?
So glad I
take
did
a
it
picture
because
and
it
post
felt
it.
right.
Right. Yes. Right.
And Cara, what about yourself? Is there anything you do from a practice?
I have my daily morning practices too. I like being a single mom. It was the only time of the day that was really quiet. So I would always get up super early before the kids would. And I've learned in the beginning, it was very hard, but I learned to really love it because I'm there when the sun's starting to come up. So I'm
Right.
able to experience that. I practice my yoga and meditation in the morning. I have some breath work and some walking as well. So it's just really connecting with myself and with the space around me. And I think that's really important in how we create our space around us too. And being in having those boundaries around our space, our little bubble, I guess. It's not like shutting people out. It's just having our safe space where we know we can do that. So, and it's about being outside. So I've got the animals and the dogs, I'll take them out, whether it's I'm standing in my bare feet or I'm sitting on the bench, whatever it happens to be, wandering with them. It's just having that quiet space for me. And it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. Because
Yeah, it's not always
needs
about
to be.
doing more.
Yeah.
It's about doing less,
Less.
intentional.
Rest.
Right,
Yeah.
Right?
Like when
With
I'm
intention.
cooking on Sundays, or that's my cooking day. It's my putter and cooking day. Like it takes you all looking at that. I'm going flowing from one thing to the next. I'm just being present in that moment, and that's why it's so helpful for me to be able to do that. If I went into it going getting angry at it, I'm not only putting that energy into what I'm preparing for my week.
Right.
And then I'm ingesting that as I go forward, but I'm taking care of me in the moment, and then I'm
love that.
providing my
Right.
nutrition to take care of myself.
Right.
as well.
And what I want the listeners to understand, and people out there watching, is this is not just theory. This is actual practices that we do. I believe we get so caught up, in terms of just reading all these books and trying to find just the silver bullet and the right answer. And there's so much theory out there, but it's just a matter of grabbing onto one practice. Or out of the stuff that you've read, just you can grab onto one little thing to practice
Absolutely.
for yourself, because we can read it all day, but
Absolutely.
how you take that step to actually try it, right?
And I think too,
Do
it's
it.
important that when you grab onto that practice, it doesn't have to be exactly the way the practice was laid out to be, that you take it. And if you forget to do something, then that's okay. You just keep going with it and you
Make it your
adapt
own.
into work for you.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Make it your own.
And you can pull from different things and just say, this is my practice.
Right. Now, how do you decide? Because we, again, we kind of stated at the start of the podcast is, we're not saying that stuff around us is not happening. It's not about being oblivious to it or anything like that. But it's how we react to it. And how do you decide what to let in or what to shut out?
Well, personally, sometimes I just wash it all out. But that's obviously not realistic. But I just think we have to, I don't know, be smart about what you hear, right? And gas prices are higher, food prices are high, and you can't change it.
I don't even look at gas prices because I
No,
have to drive.
You have to drive. Yeah, and I'm like
So
that.
it's like,
I'm very much like that too. So you'll put gas in the car and you're gonna drive.
I put $75 no matter what the price was.
Right? Exactly. That's my number.
This is
Right?
how far I'm
That's
getting
my
this
number.
week.
Right? Yeah. Right. But if you focus on, oh my God, it's $75 to fill my tank or that's all I can afford to put in or whatever. And I can only drive, or I shouldn't drive, or I'm never going to town, or I'm never going on a vacation, then I feel myself that that's what you're putting out to the world, and that's what you're going to get back.
Mhm.
Right? So yes, I know gas prices are ridiculous, but I choose to be grateful for where I can go and what I can do on the amount of money I put in my gas tank. And I really try not to focus on it. Right? Like I just feel like if you focus on the negative, then the more negative you get. It's like you get up in the morning, you stub your toe, and you're like, and then you just keep going, or you can go. I'm like, okay, maybe stubbing my toe made me just take a breath, and now
Slows down enough.
it slowed me down. Right? Right? Exactly.
And I think it comes back to that awareness too, and how something makes us feel. If we're hearing something or reading something, listen to our gut or intuition. It will tell us to step away from it and don't listen. But we don't always listen to that. We're like, ooh, what else can we find out, or whatever happens to be. So it's our own boundaries, but it's really coming back. And I know we've talked about that, like the old ways of listening to our gut or our intuition. It will lead us to where we need to be.
Yeah.
So.
And you mentioned the word boundaries. Does anybody have social media boundaries?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything I find now when I'm on my social media, I mean, I'm on it fairly often for the studio. I try to post as much as I can and answer questions. So I'm on it a fair amount. But if I see stuff that I don't like, I unfollow or click the, hide it button, which I just recently found. I'm like, oh, I like this. Hide, right? You don't want to listen to it. And I think when you engage in the happy stuff, you see more of the happy stuff, right? The old algorithm thing. But when you start focusing on the negative things, then you see more of that too.
So let's touch on putting stuff out versus bringing stuff in. Is that, I think people lose sight of that because I don't want to sit here and say social media is all negative.
No,
bad by
absolutely
any
not.
shape or form. And I even get stuck listening doom scrolling or whatever you want to call it. And you just, next thing you know, an hour's gone, right? Yeah. But you can use social media just to put stuff out and not take stuff in. Obviously, I do the podcast, stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with jumping on there and just making a post and giving something back to the world and then shutting it down and okay, let's not take nothing in today.
Right. Yeah. But social media in that respect is fantastic. I mean, for me, and I'm sure you guys are the same way, I've got family all over the place. So it's so great. I get to see their pictures and see their kids grow up and stay connected to, for me, I got a really huge family, but I get to stay connected with my cousins and things that I wouldn't necessarily be able to if I wasn't on social media. So yeah, you put out what you put out what you get back, and you get back what you put out. But so I think social media is great. That's how we let everybody know what's going on in the studio. It's how we let people know what's going on in my world. I get to share my happy things with people. So I think social media is wonderful, unless you fall down the doom scroll.
Right.
Which we all do. Listen, I've done it myself. All of a sudden, you find that, singing bowl thing or that, candle magic thing or something. And then next thing you know, you're like watching baby goats or you're watching somebody's, baby reveal. I'm like, how did I get there? Right. So we're still human.
Yeah.
We're still human. I think we all go down that road and can easily. But it's just a matter of going, okay, yeah, I did that. Let's just, okay, girl, let's not do that again. And
now, Barb, I was out to your place recently.
Yep.
How do you, because I just see in that beautiful spot, how do you protect your energy with all that's going on and stuff like that? Because obviously protecting your energy is part of kind of what we're discussing here too, right? Not getting down that.
Oh, absolutely. Because and I'm learning. Right. I'm still learning to protect my boundaries. Like that is, I'm been much better at it lately.
Yes.
But yeah, so just shielding myself from that. And just because things are loud doesn't mean I have to pay attention to them either, is another one, right? And yeah, my woods is protected as well. So it's safe to go back and get ticks.
You're also talking to the ladies who like to use crystals to protect their spaces.
Yeah. Well, you saw all the quartz, so
Right. And intention to protect our all of our places and spaces and things. And essential oils, candles, you name it, we're using all of that.
Now,
it ups our frequency too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
do you have any recommendations, Cara, for maybe someone that doesn't have you got a beautiful spot, you got the beautiful community here. Any recommendations for how to protect your energy for someone that maybe doesn't have that or might be looking for it?
I think partly too, before we jump right into that piece, is knowing that we need to give ourselves grace in these situations as well, because we do that awareness to catch that we're doing something, and or if like going down at doom scrolling, or if we need to reground ourselves. But if we do that for an hour, 5 minutes, whatever it is, not to beat ourselves up over it, because it's part of what we're doing to raise our awareness. It's kind of the same thing as meditating. Well, I keep getting thoughts, and that's the point of it. It's not latching on to those thoughts. And if you do, letting them go. So then just breathing them out as you go forward. As far as the protecting the energy, I think it's whatever resonates for you. So when you're living in a small space or a shared space, and you can't think of have the concept of how do I put a bubble around everything, it's just being able to think about your breath and noticing that your body expands with the breath, for example. So as your body expands with the breath, it's also the energy around you that's expanding, and that can be your simple little bubble there. It could be envisioning pulling down light and being in a disco ball. So then you have your little sparkly ball, and nothing can come through that unless you welcome it. So it's part of that intention too. It could be just saying in the morning, I'm not going to allow anything, and label it specifically, or negativity, whatever it happens to be, to come through my boundary today. And if it does, it does. You don't have to say that. But if it does, it happens. Just breathe through it. But it could be simply just speaking those words. It could be connecting with your breath. It could be when you're drinking your cup of tea. You're intaking the energy to create your boundary around you. So it's taking what you do on a day-to-day, regular basis and putting your own intention and magic into it to create that space.
Right. And I've heard it multiple times now too, kind of setting your intention for the morning. That really the first thing you do that first day it makes a big difference.
grateful you woke up, right?
Yeah. Like I know when and I always circle back to start my journey. I got to stop saying that because I'm just on a journey now.
All on a
It
journey.
hasn't even started anymore. It's just
Yes.
there.
Yes.
But I did make the purpose. I used to get up in the morning and watch sports stats and do all the things that men do. Right. And I'm just saying that's how I was raised, right? My father watched it, and that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? But I stopped doing that, and I put on this Zen channel on TV as just background music or waves or whatever the case, and I literally my coffee is spent just inward, just doing it, and it makes such a huge difference in terms of starting your day and focusing on what's important to you. And you'd be surprised what thoughts come through. To your point, right? So I do like that. And we have to remember, just because it's happening in the world, it really doesn't mean that, it has to live in our minds all day, right? So setting that daily intention to focus on what's important to you versus what's going on in the world and the news.
I love the line that not everything deserves a seat at the table.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's nice. Now, when everything feels uncertain, what actually does matter most to you ladies? What do you gravitate to?
Well, I should probably say my husband and my kids, because they're the most important thing in my world.
Are they watching?
They will be. Still, my kids and my husband are the most important. And they are. But I find that my husband's super supportive of what I do, but he doesn't always get all of it. So sometimes when I have these, crazy ideas. I have my Barb. And we chat all the time. So it's that, you feel uncertain and you're just like, you can't breathe and you get overwhelmed. And it's nice to have that support person. And I have multiple here. Barb's just happens to be home during the day like me. So we can like get on the phone and I can go, okay. And she can usually tell by my voice. And she'll be like, all right, go. 1, 2, 3, just go. And you just dump it. Right. And then she'll be like, okay, let's talk through this. And I'm like, okay. And I can do the same with her, right? Or with Cara, or with any of the girls here, right? Yeah. But it's nice to have at least one safe person that you can just dump all that stuff that's scary out there. Because
without judgment.
Without judgment, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because sometimes there's things I just want to say. Right. But don't judge me by it. Right. It's just in the moment.
Right. Yeah. But it's okay to be upset about a situation or an illness or a bad relationship or a shitty job or whatever. We're allowed to have feels around that. Right. And I mean, all of us are within the same age-ish bracket where, you are. Right. We're the older ones, but you are a little younger. Yes. But we were still taught to not talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. So you just push everything down and push everything down and push everything down. So until you just can't. Right. And I think even now in these moments, there's still times when things are crazy around us where you're like, you don't have that safe person to be able to talk about it. So you just keep pushing down until you
and I've learned too that with sharing, because I share probably way too much of my life, but there's usually somebody that it's like a little light bulb on. I was like, I had that. I never spoke of it, never whatever. Because I feel that's really important, especially as crones, there's so much happens at this stage of our life that if we don't share and talk about it and realize that, hey, Cara, you're doing the same thing that I went through that and we need to talk.
Yeah.
In safety.
In safety. In trust. Yeah.
And it's important to recognize that we're not being selfish about it too.
Right.
Whether it's, I need to take space from my family today, or I need to take space to do this, or I need to take space to have a conversation. It's honoring what we're going through and not ramming it down that we used to do.
Right.
It's coming into the whole ways of being able to let go of what's needed to be let go of, and knowing that we're not being selfish because it's taking care of ourselves.
Right. And let's attach to that for a second. Only to talk about detaching, because you mentioned your husband and your child, and we love our family. Everybody knows that, but I think it's important to understand that I'm trying to put it in the right words, but not to have such an attachment that we feel they have to be first, kind of to your point, not being selfish or selfless or whatever the case, right? It's okay to have other people in your life. Just because you're married doesn't enter you into hey, they're the ones that have to go. And the fact that you could have a relationship with somebody that also understands that is such a world of difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't enter into a bond just to be like, okay, they're my guy or girl or whatever the case,
person.
Right? And they have to be the end all be all, stuff like that. So I love the fact that you're able to go to other community members and have a family involved that understands that, and it's not being selfish, it's being true to you, because we were putting on this earth, we came into it alone.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
We're meant to enjoy it to our fullest. Not necessarily, I don't want to say alone, but in the way that we want to enjoy it. And, do the things that we want to do and be around the people we want to be around, right? So many of us attach ourselves to other people, and we stay there as if life is meant to be around.
We lose our
right? So I know this is kind of off topic a little bit, but I just wanted to latch onto that for a minute.
But we're fixers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Women especially, and I mean men too, but for our age bracket, we were trained, right, watching our parents and our mothers and our grandmothers and our great grandmothers that they did the cooking and they did the cleaning and they looked after the kids and, um, they just, everybody else came first before them. And then your cup is so depleted that there's nothing left for you. And then how do you look after those people when you're empty? Where now I find I'm trying to teach my daughters, you got to put yourself first. You come first. When your cup is full, then you're a better partner. You're a better mom. You're a better dad. You're a better sister. You're a better friend. You're a better all of those things when you've looked after you.
And how we're still trying to do what we always did historically or traditionally in the women's end of things, for example, that's taking care. We weren't working outside of the house at the time, and we didn't have social media and all those other components too. So trying to maintain that and still do everything else just isn't realistic.
Right.
And it's just the era now that so many people are waking up to that and are aware of that and setting their boundaries or honoring what's needed. And then also honoring that the people that you've chosen to have in your life have their own journeys too. And your journeys are intertwining for some reason as well. So being able to honor that.
And I think men have the same
they do.
issues. Like, I'm not saying it's all right. It's not all women because besides you're one of my favorites that come in, but we have men that come into the studio and it's the same way. You need to fill your cup too. You can't be right. Cause men, their role was being the provider and, go out and hunt and do all those things. And it's the same thing. If your cup is empty, then you can't be a good partner, no matter who you are, and what your role is in a relationship. You have to look after you. Right. So, and I love that we're actually getting more men that are coming in and, sitting around the table or, being practitioners or writing journals, and doing those things that, help other men as well as women and people and, all the things. Together we're stronger.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
My motto. Together we're
Absolutely.
stronger. Yeah.
See, we got off on a little
See,
side
we
topic,
always do.
so I kind of lost where we're at. But we were talking about kind of what matters most to us and stuff like that. And again, I just want to go back to yes, family matters most, but it's good to have those other things in your life that matter just as much, right? In fact, we're gonna do. I can't wait till we do an episode on kind of just what we discuss in terms of menopause and just. You and I discussed it briefly in terms of how women's roles just change. So you can't attach yourself to certain because life goes on no matter what's coming in and out of it, right? But anyway, that's that's
another whole podcast.
Yeah. So I do think it's important to know, we don't control the world. We certainly can control how we show up in it. But for everyone out there, I don't know, pose this question to each of you ladies. If someone out there is feeling overwhelmed today, Barb, maybe we'll start with you. What's the one piece of advice you would tell them?
You don't need to figure it out. You don't need to figure out what's going on in the world. You can only figure out you. So go within, figure, what your little world, like go back into that, ground yourself, just find some quietness, breath, like you said, and getting grounded again and reaching out to friends that, you don't need to listen to all the noise.
No.
Right.
Yeah, it's too hard.
No, I think it's about finding community wherever that is, whether it's here at On My Soul Journey, just throwing that out there, or elsewhere. There's other wellness centers around the city and province and as well that offer wonderful things and to be able to just find, like I always say, like-minded, like-hearted people that just that can hold you up when you can't hold yourself up. And
because here you can come to the table.
Here
you don't have to comfort treatment. It's great when you do. That's awesome. It helps fill your cup or you buy a new gemstone or whatever. But also you can just walk in off the street, sit at the table. You're always welcome. And you're always part of the community.
Yeah. And we post that all the time on our page. It's like, we're here on Saturday or Barb's here on Friday or whatever day it happens to be. And it's like the teapot is on and there's a chair at the table for you. And sometimes there's one or two people at the table, and sometimes like we're squeezing people in, but it's really true. We always have the teapot on, and it's a place where you can just come and and find out what happens here, or just chit chat with other ladies or gentlemen or whoever's at the table, or just like Cara said earlier, just listen to what's going on, right? Because you're like, oh, who are these people? Are they? But you can come and just join us around the table
Right.
and hang out and just get a little, just find a friend or get some guidance, or and if we can't help you here at the studio, then you know what, we know lots of other wonderful people out there that we can send you to. And yeah, you don't have to be alone, and you shouldn't.
Now, Cara, before we get into yours, I just want to touch on that because this is not a community I would have ever saw myself in. If I'm being honest,
Right.
5 years ago, right? It's just not. Yeah, it just isn't. And then going through a separation at the time, and then I don't know. I just came across breathwork. I don't even know what drew me to it. But then going to that, which was uptown, meeting Alex, and then learning about this place. Through that, I met so many different people. I've had so many, people from this community on my podcast, and just everything just turned right around. So I just want to elaborate on that just to make sure that, anybody listening, just try it. If there's something you've been thinking about, and just stop putting the fear of judgment, um, ahead of that. Just try it, latch onto a community, latch onto something that, might be at the forefront of your mind, but you're just scared to make that move because of how somebody might judge you or stuff like that. It's, oh man, it's just such a difference once you
Yeah, I really feel like
overcome
we're
that
a
fear.
pretty
It's-
judgment-free zone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's a place that you can just come and like I said, if you want to share your story, you can. And if you don't, you don't have to. But everybody's been there, and we're all walking the same journey. It's
So
individual, but it's the same. And I always say the universe puts everybody in our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But we are all, everybody who walks through the doors is meant to walk through the doors, and we're supposed to walk together and help each other out.
yeah,
I always
Right?
picture it as a path, and it's dark, and sometimes you just need people to hold lanterns. That's what
Yeah.
we're here for. Hold the
Right.
lanterns.
Hold
to
the
help you out
lantern.
get through that.
So
Yeah.
we've gone inward, community.
I want to say one thing first. I
Mhm.
like something you say, Barb, when people come in and like, I didn't know that you were here. I didn't know that you knew. They're like, it's because this is when you were meant to find us.
Yeah.
Right.
You
So-
find us when you're
so
meant to
he's
find
doing
us.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. For mine, I think it's remembering, or I know it's remembering that when you're alone, you're not alone. So if it's sitting, putting a candle in your space, if it's putting a plant in your space that gives you that connection feeling, if it's coming up with a word or a quote, maybe it's when you're at the shop and you have a stone or a crystal and you have that in your pocket so you can put your hand on it. It's that knowing that you always have that connection and you're never alone, even when you're alone physically. The energies that you're interacting with, the people, their energies that are in your life or here that you experience, you carry that with you.
Right.
We've created that together, and we all walk away with what we need in that moment, and we leave behind what we no longer need. So you always have that regardless of where you are.
I got my stone.
There we go. Yes. There's the other stones with them.
Stone right here.
Yeah. Bracelets. Yeah. We're not showing you ours.
Yeah. So, listen, I want to thank you, ladies, obviously, for being on this episode with me. Can't wait to do the next one. Just for everybody watching out there, remember, maybe the world isn't going to slow down, but the world's not going to slow down. It's just
Oh, we
the
gotta get faster.
reality. But we definitely can slow down. And life, as we mentioned before, is, it's not about fixing everything. Life's about coming back to really what matters to you most and really enjoying every moment. So, with that said, I've enjoyed this moment. Thanks again. Thanks everybody for watching, and stay tuned for our next episode. This was Design Your Life with Jim Mantler and beautiful Barb, Tabitha, and Cara. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey guys.
Bye.